So new patch is hot off the presses, and I'm just going to make a quick video on this. I'm going to talk about some of the bigger changes in this patch, and then talk about all the changes to our beloved micro heroes. So I'd actually originally planned today to do a video on Lycan or Visage, because both those heroes are broken and you should exploit them while that's still the case. But no worries, they're still going to be broken after this patch. Spoiler warning there. Okay, let's get into the patch. So Arc Warden, one of our micro heroes, got some minor nerfs, but he's still gonna be fine. Most importantly, in 728, his Maelstrom and Mjolnir were buffed, so that's the reason why Arc Warden is even stronger in 728 than he was before. But with these nerfs, he's still gonna be fine, probably. I see a whole bunch of minor changes here. Broodmother gets her Aghanim shard improved, which now also deals 75 DPS, so that's 150 damage each time you cast this Silken Bola. I'm not sure if that's enough to really make this a thing. I still think Broodmother is rather weak at the moment. Enigma received some major buffs in 728, and now in 728A he receives a minor tuning nerf here. Level 15 talent from 10% cooldown reduction to 8%. The other talent is 150 midnight pulse radius. Maybe now you actually go for this talent, I'm not sure. But cooldown reduction is still so very strong in Enigma, so maybe you still go for the cooldown reduction. Invoker Shard was pretty crappy. Now it gets an additional upgrade of 320 distance to the Ice Wall. I don't know if this is still going to be good enough, but I think Invoker in general is quite strong right now. Juggernaut gets some nerfs to his Aghanims, as well as this Blade Fury shard. So in recent days, Juggernauts have been experimenting with a magic damage kind of build, where you build things like Radiance and get the Aghanim shards. And this is going to nerf that a bit, as well as just nerfing generally the Mask of Madness kind of physical right-click damage build, because a Swift Slash is now a bit weaker. Keeper of the Light got a major rework, and it turns out, if you're looking at the win rate, he went down quite a bit, so now he gets a whole bunch of buffs here, and that will hopefully bring him back up to line. And I'm just happy that the Will-O-Wisp is gone. So I'm quite fine with this. Yeah, some more minor changes, but then we get to Lifestealer, who got a rework last patch, actually going against the general trend in Dota, which is to reduce passive abilities and introduce more active abilities. Here it went the other way around. Lifestealer got an extra passive ability, the Ghoul Frenzy, and lost the Open Wounds as a standard ability, now introduced in that shard. So this generally just made Lifestealer quite a bit weaker in the lane, because you can no longer actually run down anyone. And this new Ghoul Frenzy gives a bit of a slow, but it's honestly just like a glorified Overvenom at the start. Not even as much slow as Overvenom, so now it gets slightly stronger at the start to help him out a bit. Also gets 3 base damage, it's going to help out a lot, and then Rage gets slightly stronger. So now Lifestealer is just one step away from the passive mods that it used to be. Actually, the old Lifestealer just had 3 passives as basic abilities, and then the active was Rage. And in that state, Lifestealer was like a complete meme. He was like considered one of the worst heroes in Dota. And yeah, just having too many passives means, yes, you can scale well with all these percentage-based abilities, but you actually need some active abilities to be strong in the early game. And so that's why Lifestealer in 728 is struggling a bit, but with these changes, he is probably going to be more or less fine. Then you have Lone Druid, who has his shards improved. So the duration is now 5 seconds instead of 4 seconds. In case you don't remember, what the shard does is whenever you cast Savage Roar, you and all nearby enemies get a bonus movement speed and bonus attack speed. And this now lasts for 5 seconds instead of 4 seconds. So I think the shard is actually starting to get really good. It's still a bit of a problem finding these 1400 gold on lone druids, because this is a very item dependent hero, and removing any sort of gold to get this shard upgrade could be problematic. Also means that if you want to go for the shard, you pretty much have to go for the talent that reduces Savage Row cooldown. It means you can't go for the armor talent. It means your bear is going to struggle with armor a bit. But this might actually be worth it now that it's 5 seconds. Lycan was completely broken. Like, he is probably the strongest hero in the game right now. This is not going to change anything. So Lycan before 728 was already a pretty good hero, and then just gave him a whole bunch of buffs. They buffed 2 of his basic abilities in a major way. They buffed his talents. They buffed his core item, which is Necrobook, in a major way. So if you take a good hero and give him a whole bunch of buffs, like, obviously he's gonna be overpowered. Like, I could have told you that beforehand. I actually did tell you that right when I read the patch notes. Like, it was obvious that Lycan would be way too strong in this patch. And indeed, that is what we're seeing when you look at the stats. So this is Dota 2 Pro Tracker, which looks at very high MMR pubs. And it says since 727B, but I think it's actually since 728. So I think that's just like a mistake there. And indeed, we can see Lycan actually has the highest win rate of all the heroes. And he's also being played a decent amount. Like 370 games is not a huge amount. So there's some heroes that have played way more, like Hoodwink, almost 3k games. But still, this is not a hero that's like picked in 50 games and then he's had some luck or something. No, this is like a solid sample size, so we can tell definitely Lycan is way overpowered. This hero is just way too strong. And you can also see at Dota buff, win rate increased by 8.17%. And this win rate before was kind of low, but that's like in low level games he's not doing that well. But in high level games he's always been doing quite well. It's just in low level games people don't know how to push, and that makes Lycan weaker. But in high level games he's having such a high win rate. So let's look at that here. And if you look at the Divine and Immortal games, 59.75% win rate. In Ancients also a crazy high win rate. Lower levels it's about 50%. So if this is ever at around 50% in lower levels, then you know Lycan is broken. This hero is just way too good, and this little nerf is not going to do anything to contain him. For some unfathomable reason, Mirana did not actually get nerfed in 728, even though she was one of the most picked and one of the strongest +4 heroes of the last patch. But now she finally gets some minor nerfs, but that's not enough. It's definitely not enough. Nature's Prophet, I feel like was already quite strong in 728, but now his Scepter actually gets another buff. So now it does a root of 1.6 to 3.4 seconds with the Aghanims on the ultimate, which is an insane teamfight ability. So I think this Aghanims is a very much a strong addition to the hero, and that really covers up Nature's Prophet's biggest weakness, which is his team fighting. So definitely I recommend going for the Aghanims in the mid to late game when you can afford it. Also, the shard is actually insane. Like, spawning 2 graded treants for every time you use sprout and destroy some of these trees is just insane value. So if you get that shard, actually it might even be good to just get like a quelling blade. Just cut down your own trees with sprout, and that way you get some extra graded treants and you can do some insane split pushing with that. So let me just show you this. So we sprout, we create treants, we get those 2 graded treants. These have 1650 HP, 108 damage. These are insanely strong. And we can even just sprout here, use Quelling Blade, get a great treant, and use Quelling Blade again, another great treant. This is insanely powerful. We can even just get the shard on a +5 Nature's Prophet. Like 1400 gold is a good chunk of money for support, but you should be able to afford it. Nature's Prophet can farm quite well by support standards, and then you can just do insane split pushing. Nyx gets tuned down slightly, as does Ogre. Some more minor changes here to Omni Knight, but then OD is a big one. OD got a major rework, and just looking at the rework was hard to tell actually whether it was a buff or a nerf, and turns out looking at the stats, it's a major nerf. OD was already one of the worst heroes and got even worse now. So to rescue that, Icefrog gives him some nice little buffs here, extra movement speed, more damage on Arcane Orb, less cooldown lower levels. Zenith's Eclipse gets better radius, and talents are also improved. Let's see if this is enough to rescue OD from the dumpster. PL Feldar was already quite strong. It gets another buff here to that Spirit Lance Shard. A bunch of minor changes there. Not going to talk about them too much. Slark, the fish bait shard, is improved a bit. Seems fine. And then we get a Terrorblade. Demon Zeal, which is an ability that he gets from a shard, gets improved. So it now gives you 50 movement speed in addition to the old 58% attack speed for 7 seconds now instead of 6, and a cooldown of 14 seconds. This is actually quite strong. Now it costs some of your own HP to cast, but if you have Sunder available, that might even be an advantage. So I think this is quite a strong late game upgrade. I don't think you want to get this early. You probably just want to get your regular items, and then the late game just get the Demon Zeal when you're maxed out on slots. Some more shards changes here. And then we get the Vengeful Spirit, who got some major changes, which actually made her particularly worse in a role as position 5 support, which is her most played role in recent times. And especially removing the double swap really hurt her, and this change to the aura also kind of hurt her. This is now back to being a boring damage aura instead of giving this bonus attack range and so on. So Venge in some senses got better as a core, but I don't know if she's actually good enough to be a core. So I'm not sure if this is actually going to be enough. Maybe we're going to have to see actually more buffs, but we have to wait and see how these changes play out. And then we get to Visage. Now, Visage got the nifty new agonyms, which just did too much. So, it turns Visage and the Familiars invisible. It gives you movement speed. It makes your movement type flying. It gives you flying vision. And then when you leave invisibility, you get an extra 30% bonus damage for 4 seconds. That's just too many things, like 5 things that are all by themselves quite good. Combined into one item for 4.2k gold, it's just a bit too much. So now it gets tuned down slightly, you lose the flying vision, but you still get 4 really strong things, and I still think the Aghanim is going to be quite strong. Perhaps no longer as meta destroying, but honestly, they could just like remove the Aghanims entirely from Visage, and Visage would still be strong. Because really in my opinion, like the biggest change to Visage was just increasing the projectile speed, and this makes him actually able to last it properly, last it like a normal hero, so you no longer lose every lane, and you can actually now farm much better in lane, and this just, I think, makes Visage too strong, even if you entirely remove the Aghanims. So this is not going to stop Visage. Maybe it's going to stop some of the fair weather Visage players from playing him, but he's still going to be incredibly powerful. And anyone who actually knows how to play Visage is still going to have a lot of success with that hero. Alright, that wraps up our discussion of the patch. Some more minor changes here, I'm not going to talk about those, but I'm definitely going to do videos on Visage and on Lycan. So those are going to come up in the next few days. So probably a video tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'm also going to do a stream, because my regular stream would be on Friday, but that's Christmas Day, so I'm not going to stream then. Instead, I'm going to stream tomorrow on Wednesday at 4 p.m. European time, which is 3 p.m. GMT. So come swing by. I'm going to be playing some Visage, perhaps some Lycan, and if you want me to take a look at any of your replays, just post one of your replay IDs in the chat, and then I can analyze one of your replays. So come swing by at twitch.tv/YoungGunnarsson, and hopefully I'll see you there.